mighty dwarf kingdoms, long thought diminished, are resurgent under their high king.
Hello and welcome to another Total War Warhammer guide. Today we are looking at two pieces of the dwarf artillery. They have many, and these are two of my favourites. This is the Grudgethrower and the organ gun. So basically we're going to talk about the different units, how we use them in battle and all the good stuff like that. So first off, we've got the Grudgethrower, which is basically, think of it as a catapult. That's just their name for a catapult. Beautifully modelled, as all the units are. They do armour piercing damage, and they are anti-infantry. They just splat on big units of infantry. The bigger the units of infantry, the better. They're not the most accurate things in the world. So let's go through the stats. So you get 3 Grudgethrowers in a unit. They got 3,000 hit points. Pretty standard dwarf stats. We won't go through them in detail because you're not using them for the dwarfs. 40 armor, blah blah blah. 22 shots. They have a massive range, the same as the dwarf cannon of 420. So they work really well together. Because the dwarf cannon has a slightly different use in that it's going after the sort of heroes and the monstrous cavalry and those bigger units and the trolls and the giants, whereas the Grudgethrower is perfect against the mass infantry, so like a big orc and goblin units, all those sort of things, absolutely splat them. But it was also armor piercing as well, so it does do damage against those sort of heavily armored infantry. They're like your units of black orcs. They're just going to gobble them up. So the missile damage is 30 missile damage, armor piercing of 140, explosive base damage of 30, and armor piercing of 65. Very slow reload time. I think that's the same as cannons, 19.8 seconds. As with all dwarfs, magic resistance 25%, and they can't run because they're artillery crew. Next up, we're going to have a look at the organ gun. Now, what's better than a cannon? Well, strapping 4 cannons together to make a cannon machine gun, kind of. So they are slightly smaller caliber cannons, so they are armor piercing, you get 3, same amount of hit points, bloody blah. 96 shots, because they do fire a lot quicker, so you will run out a lot quicker. So they're much shorter range than a cannon, 275 range, which is still very good, but for the dwarfs, not so much, as we saw. But their missile damage is 210. If we look at the damage split up here, missile damage 14, armor piercing damage 38, but you fire all 4 cannons at the same time, and they have a much quicker, they're twice the reload speed of a normal cannon or the Grudgethrower. So let's have a quick look at them in battle, and we kind of talk through how to use them. Obviously it doesn't take a genius to work out how to use artillery. So we're going to have a look. See, the Grudgethrower, ridiculous amount of range. The biggest thing... oh, I didn't mean you there. Stay there. The biggest difference between a Grudgethrower and a cannon on the actual fire is the firing arc, as you can see, is much higher. Which actually makes quite a bit of difference, because it means you can, even if you're on a downward slope or right behind your troops, it means you're not going to get any friendly fire because they're firing over it. That's one of the best things about these Grudgethrowers. Even when the enemy is relatively close, you can still easily fire over the top of your own troops without any sort of worries that you might be, gunning down your own troops. So as you can see, we've started doing a bit of damage to that back line, because obviously we're firing at the front line, but they're not the most accurate. Most of the damage is hitting that because they're moving towards us. Most of that damage is on the back line. Oh, there we go. There is the organ gun firing its first volley. As you can see, ridiculous amount. Okay, they're already running off. Switch targets. So as you can see, they're just tearing them a new one. Now, I adore the organ gun. It's probably my favourite artillery piece. It lacks a bit of punch that the cannon has, but it's still armor piercing. It's obviously it's shorter range, but it's not as short as the flame cannon, so it can still fire off plenty of shots before the enemy even gets to you, as we can see. Probably should shoot this one that's not running away. So as you can see, the minimum range on these Grudgethrowers is quite far out, so you have to be wary of that. But even at this range, it's still going to fire over my own troops. They're not going to get to... They're running away again. They're just endlessly running away. Should we shoot their lord? See if we can get a hit on their lord. I always take a couple of units of organ guns into my battle line. because I think they're one of the best units for stopping that charge. I think the morale damage it does alone, even with, and that 4-shot damage is just so good that it can really break units, as we saw, before they get anywhere close to me. So it doesn't. But obviously, a cannon would be better at taking down this hero, because a cannon, one big hit from a cannon, and it's kind of game over for the. Oh, he's taking it. He's taking it. Man down. Man down. He's all right. I'm okay. I'm okay. And then we're going to shoot over there. These units are going to try and charge in. The Grudgethrower I definitely like. I don't like as much as the normal dwarf cannon, but they have their uses. They are better if you on a castle siege. They work really well because they're better at shooting units on top of the castle wall on the ramparts or behind it because of that high looping shot, as opposed to the cannon, which a lot of the time is just going to hit the wall and do damage to the wall. There we go, guys. There's my mini guide done for 2 of the artillery pieces. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button if you do, and subscribe for loads more Warhammer and other gaming goodness, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.